impression in the game you get out with what you put into it. It's like a walk of life. If you're good enough, go out and get it, no more about it.
But not so much control in the centre of the field from Kilkenny as Richie Bennett sends it high and over the bar.
Your mother sends you down to the shop for a pound's worth of goods and she gives you 50 pence. You can't get the pound's worth of goods, can you?
Just about kept in. Oh, well done, Shawnee Buckley. To do that to Tomas O'Shea, he deserves to score from here. One of the highlights of the Sunday game.
Limerick went out there from the word go today. No more about it. They made all the running, that was it. Put the ball over the bar and the back of it, and that's it. No ifs, no buts.
Is there much time left? We have a couple of injuries. Here comes Kieran Carey. Carey leading the charge of the right brigade. 45 metres out. He's a chance to score. He's put it high.
There's no sympathy in this game for anybody.
Hello, and you're very welcome to episode 316 of Treaty Talk. Tom Clancy here, and joined once again by Matt O'Callaghan of the Weekly Observer and Vale Star newspapers. And we're here, of course, to discuss all things Gaelic games across Limerick in the week that was, and indeed the week that is to come, across all four codes in terms of hurling, ladies football, men's football, and a bit of camogie too over the next hour or so. Okay, so Matt, I think there's only one place to start. Of course, something that a lot of our listeners are interested in, something you and I are very interested in. Of course, the Limerick senior hurling team made their seasonal bow against our old rivals from Leeside, and Limerick left the banks of the Lee with a point. Perhaps in the way the game ended, Limerick will be a little bit annoyed that they didn't come away with the maximum, but overall, the 70 plus minutes or nearly 80 minutes of action Limerick, put in, it was a good benchmark for the year ahead, and a good outing from John Kiley and his troops.
Yeah, you definitely. But I suppose you could say they left Páirc Uí Chaoimh disappointed and angry in equal measure at the manner in which it ended in a draw, which it was actually 9 minutes and I think almost 40 seconds when the equaliser went over. So what's the purpose of putting up 7 minutes and playing 9.5? And where were the 7 minutes in the first place? Now, I know the evening was bad and there were a number of stoppages, but were there 7 minutes? I do not know. There's a whole lot of positives to be taken out of it, Tom. First of all, I suppose you got off not to a winning start, but you didn't get off to a losing start either. In context of the league, if you're seriously interested about winning the league, it's a very good point earned on the road, because Cork away would probably be one of the stronger teams that are in it. But it was a funny weekend, really, Tom, because if you saw the manner in which the previous week, if you saw the manner in which Tipperary overturned Galway, the manner in which Cork overturned Wexford, and then we saw and Kilkenny beating the All-Ireland champions, and then we saw this weekend, you saw Galway going down to Kilkenny and winning in Nolan Park, Wexford coming up Thurles and pushing Tipperary all the way. So it's a funny league, but I suppose to come out of Cork with a point any day, I suppose is a good result. And there was a number of players really that got terribly important, considerable game time. I'm talking of the likes of Aidan O'Connor, Paddy Donovan, and these, who really got game time. And interestingly, I suppose the most interesting selection for me anyway, and by the way, I wasn't one bit surprised to see Kyle Hayes at centre back. I think I mentioned it here last week that I thought that was nailed on nearly.
It's been in the ether for a while. Yeah, I don't think people are surprised with that one, but I'd say the one you're coming to is Barry Murphy wearing 4.
Barry Murphy. When I saw it, I said to myself, it's a strange decision, and the more I reflected on it, the less strange it became. Because if you remember last year, Barry Murphy very successfully transitioned from attack midfield to defence. Yeah. So it wasn't entirely new. And obviously John Kiley had seen that he was able to hold up his corner there, which he did. And Paddy Donovan to come out of the game with 4 points. Aidan O'Connor, they put down markers, and Colin Coughlin, Adam English. Like, when the big guns are available, and a couple of them hopefully will be available on Sunday, there is really challenge and really competition there now. And we, so I think overall, like Donegal Dawley, Shane O'Brien, it was a very new look youthful Limerick side. I think overall John Kiley will be satisfied.
Yeah, we'll come to a couple of other players now in a second, but another one we failed to mention there is Jason Gillan. It was, as far as I know, it's his league debut as well.
It was his league debut,
and very assured, very comfortable. Couple of long range frees that we're not surprised to see either. And it augurs well, because there's big boots to fill there in the form of Nicky Quaid. So it augurs well that that's the starting point for Jason at this level.
Absolutely, and it was a huge occasion for Jason Gillan, and he could not possibly be oblivious to the narrative that was going around about filling Nicky Quaid's shoes. And I think he absolutely did very, very well. In my opinion, he nailed it. His puck out, everything, his long range frees. He brings you a different suite of options, as well as part from being a good goalkeeper.
Yeah, I know he does. He I suppose as well, there's a lot of drop balls dropped in around the house, and he, they're not quite puck out, so you still have, he was able to deal with those, pick them up and pick out his option. The experienced players, you mentioned a lot of the young players, and it's kind of the guys that are around 22, 23, 24 that you mentioned there, in terms of years old, I should say. But I can tell you, the boys who didn't miss a beat, Dan Morrissey, I thought was outstanding. Kyle Hayes, very good at centre back. Cian Lynch, captain's display, really showing that he wants to put in a big year. Gerard Hegarty cried off early with I think he's after picking up maybe a dozen stitches or so in his hand. Hopefully it's a short run thing. But like William O'Donoghue, these guys very hungry, Matt, very hungry. 1st of March, 1st of February.
I thought William O'Donoghue was incredible. Apart from the goal, his performance around the middle was absolutely incredible. I thought he had a fantastic game. And you're right, Kyle Hayes, Dan Morrissey, Dermot Burns, all showing good signs of coming back into form. And, Gerard Hegarty, unfortunately, I don't know how he incurred that injury, but it obviously wasn't picked up anyway. So, if a fella gets 10 stitches, it's a nasty, nasty injury, Tom.
Yeah, it is, and it's on his hand as well. So hopefully it's something that can be mended and minded. There was the one concern coming out of the game, Matt. Obviously, that injury is one, but seemingly Sean Finn went off at half-time with I suppose maybe not a pulled hamstring, but a tightening one. It seems that William O'Donoghue was in that space as well. I suppose injuries, they're part and parcel of the Intercounty. Cork definitely shipped a few as well. Conor Lahan didn't last too long after he came on, for example. We don't want to see these injuries mounting at any point, but certainly early in the season when you're trying to build up a head of steam.
No. We don't want to see him building for any county. And I suppose maybe, even though Páirc Keefe is always in pristine condition, no matter what the prevailing conditions are, but the prevailing conditions on the evening may have fed into it.
Yeah. And just a bit heavier. I'm just saying, made it that bit heavier for the players.
It made it that bit heavier, and it made the ground slippy. It made the ball slippery. So it's a factor. Maybe we would hope. We know the extent of Gerard Hegarty's injury. It may rule him out for a couple of weeks. Sean Finn and William O'Donoghue, you would hope that there's an element of precautionary involved there.
Yeah, I'd say it's certainly in the case of Sean Finn, because it's a repeat injury. He went off last year at the same venue in the championship. You'll recall Fergal O'Connor came in for him, and I think he had a reoccurrence then in the club championship of something similar. So hopefully it was just this is day one of very many ahead in 2025, and It was a case of just not taking a chance at it, and they get it right for the next day. But the game,
he did well, Tom.
He did, yeah, and it was a baptism of fire when he came in the championship last year. And he looks, every time you see him, he looks more assured. Would have seen him in Fitzgibbon around this time last year. We'd have seen him with the club as well, being a very prominent force for Effin. And he seems to, he's getting older, getting wiser, and getting more confident, I think, at this level as well. So while it's poor to see Sean Finn go off and disappointing, it certainly gave Fergal the opportunity to show what he was about, and in fairness to Limerick, they defended very well. And the free at the end, there was a screen grab of it going around, and people would dispute why was the free given and this and that. But if you pause it when the free was given, I think there was 9 Limerick players in the action. Like, this is in nearly the 80th minute, and there's 9 Limerick players hunting down the ball, and that's, for me, that was the big positive out of this. The work rate from Limerick from the get-go. And that's what this team has been built on. They mightn't always go their way in terms of quality on the ball, but they really, really put in a shift. I'd say John Kiley was thrilled with that. But we must talk as well, Matt, about the tension between the two teams. It's certainly bubbling the whole time, and you saw even a bit of antics on the sideline and all. John Kiley got booked. The Limerick Dr. James Ryan got booked. There was a lot of players, a lot of off the ball stuff. There's the Seamus Flanagan thing, but there was so much going on off the ball here in this game.
And I'm hearing, Tom, that it spilled over onto the terraces and the stands.
Right.
Which to me is very, very, very sad. And I wish that people in such cases who come to see a match just come to see the match and let it between the protagonists on the field. Nothing more. But this thing is creeping in, and it's just not alone in Páirc Uí Chaoimh on Saturday. But this vial between opposing spectators, there's no place for that in the GAA, and it has to stop. Now there is no place at all for roaring expletives to the opposition players and that kind of thing. It has to be stamped out.
Yeah, and booing of free takers by all accounts, and Limerick fans have been guilty of this in big championship days as well, up in the terrace and all the rest of it. But it seems to have crept in, and there was Adam English standing over frees. I could hear it through the TV and stuff. It's becoming commonplace, Matt, isn't it?
I wish those people would stay at home. If that's what they're going for, and like you heard the debate going on during the week. It was on for 2 days during the week. I think it was in Liveline, it was on, about the international match between Ireland and England last Saturday.
Same evening, yeah.
And the amount of liquor that was being consumed and being spilt on people who had gone in good faith to watch the match. I was speaking to somebody that told me they will never again dot in the place. They didn't enjoy the match one iota, with people passing up and down with drink and all that sort of a thing. And there's an element of that coming into the GA now, and it has got to be stopped now.
Yeah, there is, and there was, the weather didn't lend itself to it, but if the weather was a bit better, the crowd would have been bigger. There's 25,000 is the official attendance, and I think they were expecting much greater than that. But
they were expecting over 30, weren't they?
Yeah, I'd say there was a few people who were in pubs around Cork City and looked out the door and saw the wind and rain and didn't bother. But it's certainly there's a culture now that has certainly crept into attending these big games, especially now when you're talking about the big counties, that people are going for the day out as much as they are to watch the game. And
exactly, Tom. There's this thing in inverted commas or whatever occasion. It's no longer the match; it's the occasion.
Yeah, and there's the 2 or 3 hours before and after are all part of it as well.
And don't think I'm an anti-drink old fogey or anything like that. Far from it. But there's a time and a place for everything. And the vast majority of that 25,000 people, the vast majority of them, Tom, went to enjoy a game of hurling between Cork and Limerick.
Yeah.
And this thing of directing vilification at players and all that sort of thing, we're going down a very dangerous road. I think what is happening and is there's this must-win mentality by stealth creeping in, at the expense of sportsmanship.
Yeah,
You know,
I
and
know what you mean. Yeah, people. I heard TJ Ryan saying it on the Irish Examiner podcast. He doesn't always bring the green spectacles to games, and there's Limerick supporters who bring, no matter what a Limerick player could do, they see no fault in it, and the same for Cork, and the same for Clare and Kilkenny. There's an element of that, and I know what you're saying. Like, I mean, I think we were in Croke Park last year when Limerick were defeated, and we turned to our Cork peers beside us, and you say, well, fair play and best of luck in the final. But not everyone is in that way of thinking anymore. I think some people, they're quick to say, oh, well, this went against us, and you didn't deserve it and all that, rather than acknowledging a good performance or whatever. Yeah, it's certainly crept in.
I live here on the border, and that is the attitude of the genuine Cork supporter. If you beat him, if you beat his county, he'll say fair play, and he'll hope you'll go the whole way. Genuinely.
Yeah. No, that's.
But this element has crept in now to the GAA, and I don't know what can be done about it.
Yeah.
Can you put a blanket universal prohibition on all liquor at grounds?
I don't know. Probably not. It's certainly a revenue stream, certainly in the case of Páirc Uí Chaoimh anyway, for them, a way of them to try and pay off that sizable debt on the venue. Just as well, I mentioned just a part of that original point I made there, Matt. These two teams now, if we just take the two teams and management, it's certainly simmering nicely anyway in terms of when these two meet in the Gaelic rounds later in the summer. I mean, it's going to be ferocious again. And like, Limerick were beaten. Some people think Limerick were beaten all ends up by Cork the last couple of seasons, or in the two games last season, I should say. Cork only won both games by 2 points. The season before in the championship, Limerick only won by a point in the Gaelic rounds, and before that maybe Limerick were a little bit more comfortable in the, but like, these two are very, very well matched, and once we see the full complement of players later in the spring, as it were, it's going to be ferocious stuff, I think, on the Ennis Road.
You have, in terms of being matched, you have a perfect situation between these two teams. They're so evenly matched, it's almost unbelievable, And if you look back at the results, and I think if you go back further, we won in 2023. We won the game in the Gaelic rounds by a point.
Yeah,
that year, Cork beat us in the Munster Senior Hurling League in Cork by a point. They beat us in the first or second round of the Alliance Hurling League in Cork by a point.
By a point or two again, wasn't it? Yeah.
Yeah. So look, it is literally there is nothing between them.
Yeah. No, it's going to be very exciting now when they do meet later in the spring. I tell you, it'll be the most eagerly anticipated game, and I'd be fairly sure it'll be on RTE anyway after all the controversy.
I wouldn't be sure. It may be on GAA Go.
Right. Well, it'll be available, or else you could go to the Gaelic grounds and watch it as well for some people. But anyway, we'll see.
Tom, that is the better option.
Absolutely, yeah. Can't wait for it. But there's plenty more business between now and I think that's round 2, isn't it, or maybe even round 3 of the Munster Hurling.
Round 3 actually.
Yeah, round 3. Yeah, of the Munster Hurling Championship. So league action coming to the Gaelic grounds. We didn't see any league action there in 2024, and it's Tipperary, Matt, who are coming this weekend. In terms of team selection, obviously we mentioned the injuries there, and we can speculate to say that there's probably a likelihood that those players that have been picked up knocks may not be risked, although 7 days sometimes can be enough. Fitzgibbon players will be mentioning those in dispatches now in the next couple of weeks as it comes to the business end of it. There's that balancing act there, so maybe a chance for John to run the rule over a few more. I mean, did they look at the goalkeepers, give Shane Dowling a run and see? Be interesting to see now come Friday evening what sort of 15 is selected by John Kiley.
Yeah, but you see, it's coming into the break, and it's the last weekend that John Kiley will have to juggle with players' commitments to the Fitzgibbon Cup, because when Limerick will play again after the break, the Fitzgibbon Cup will be over. That is mainly why the break is, to allow the Fitzgibbon Cup's concluding stages to take place. So that is one headache that's going to be out of the way. But it'll be very interesting to see what the team selection for Sunday will be. Now, Tipperary will probably be coming on a bit of a high. They have a new look team, and a lot of new players introduced. players that I hadn't heard of before. Of course, they have this Darren McCarthy.
Exciting forward,
This lad. He was an All Ireland winner with Nina CBS in Cork Cup and Hartley Cup last year. A very exciting young player. Now he seems to be doing a lot of scoring for him. Liam Cahill made very few changes from the side that beat Galway. Made a couple all right, but nothing dramatic. Maybe thinking about trying to get a settled team. Tipperary are after a couple of very bad championships, and they'll want a good run in the league. And the big thing for Tipperary after the league will be to emerge with a settled team, I think. But Limerick, it's very, very hard to call it. Like we have at the best of times, Tom. It's very, very hard to speculate on what John Kiley will do. But there's a bunch of players out there who weren't seen in Parky Cleave last week. And we're talking to like a Barry Nash, Declan Hannon, the Caseys, Darragh Donovan, Tom Morrissey, who's back in the country and back training. So whether John will be tempted to use some of those.
Aaron Gillan, of course, as well, who was on the bench, but didn't.
Of course, Aaron Gillan, but Aaron was a sub last week, I think.
But again, there's a shuffle that'll go on there because he'll want to give game time again to the
Aaron Gillan will, like everybody else, will need game time, So I suppose it's fair to say that Gerard Hegarty is going to be ruled out. David Reedy is another one that will probably start.
It's a feature prominently anyway. You'd imagine. He did play 3/4 of the game the other day. This in terms of the league, it'll be important if Limerick want to win the league. It'll be important to pick up a win here on home soil. Now, do Limerick want to win the league? I think, of course, they do. John Kiley has always said that if they're in the competition, they'll go and win it. Now, they may not always go full bore. They may not always play the best available 15 to them. But certainly when they line up against anyone, they want to win the game. And I keep looking at this league format this year, Matt, and Limerick have had their break in terms of they didn't play in round one, played obviously round two the other day. Like Limerick won't look at the league this year and say, oh, there's a semi-final hurdle and then the final. Like last year they got to the semi-finals anyway and they lost out, but they wanted to beat Kilkenny and get to the final. This year there's a game less, there's 6 group games and then the final. So I can't see why Limerick don't decide.
Because there were only 5 group games last year, Tom. And that's the point. That's the point I was making with Barry Hennessy last week. We haven't resolved the conundrum of the league running straight into the championship.
Yeah, that's true enough. Limerick will be.
We haven't resolved that conundrum, and the only way I see it is 2 groups of 4 semi-finals and finals, maximum of 5 matches.
3 group games, and then and then you're on from there. But no, I think Limerick will want to get a win now and get their kind of get that W back beside their name. Obviously, having not won a game, I'll say, since last year's Munster final, and not that they've played too many in between, but just to get that winning feeling back in the group. And like you must always think with these league games, if you were a fringe player, as it were, if you're not in the team as such, you're not assured of your place. It's very important for you to be on a winning team and to be showing well and to be delivering your stuff as part of a winning team. I think that's very important. And sometimes people overstate league results. When the team loses, they kind of can dismiss it too easily. And I just don't see that happening in Limerick here. I think they'll want to lay down a little bit of a marker, against Tip and see can they get that winning feeling again. But it's a 4 p.m. throw-in, isn't it, at the Gaelic Grounds, or is it
3:45?
Or 3:45. Sorry, 3:45.
But Tommy, the league, for those that are trying to break into the team, and even those as the league progresses, for those that are pretty nailed on frontline players, it's an ongoing audition. Because you're heading straight into the championship, and I can't help but think it has happened in the years past that John Kiley's first, his first target every year is the first round of the Munster Hurling Championship.
Yeah, and it is this weekend's opponents who will be at their opponents in the 20th of April. So when it comes around, and I suppose interestingly, from the Munster point of view, I think a couple of years ago, Waterford were able to go after the league, to use that expression, but they weren't playing in the first round of the Munster Championship. They're not playing in the first round of the Munster Championship, but they're actually in 1B. So, I mean, the likelihood is someone out of Limerick, Tipperary, Cork, or Clare will have to get to the league final. So someone is going to have that conundrum of having to play a league final on, I think it would be the 4th of April, or sorry, the 6th of April, and then having to play round one game a few weeks ago. So it's going to have to happen to someone, no matter how they, no matter how they design it, So look, be interested to see.
The only way you can design it is the way I say, Tom, you have 8 teams in Group 1 divided into 4, semi-final and final.
Yeah, absolutely. Especially when they're going into another league phase, as it were. Anyway, that's Limerick's hurling game, 3:45 on Sunday. Limerick versus Tipperary, first meeting of the All Neighbours for 2025. Okay, Matt, where have we next? So just to mention the Fitzgibbon, I suppose we touched it in a moment there. We're recording here on Wednesday. Mary Immaculate College are in their quarterfinal action this evening. They're heading to Dublin to face DCU. So I suppose they'll be hoping to have full availability of the likes of Adam Hogan, Shane Meehan of Clare, who didn't feature against you well last week, and obviously Shane O'Brien sat that one out. So they'll be hoping that Shane back into it. They also have Declan McLaughlin, Matt, who got 2-2 for the weekend for Kilkenny. So nice little player, and they'll be fancying their chances maybe to get back into the semi-final.
Yeah, it's not the talk of Declan McLaughlin now. It's not his first time making a statement, if you recall. He came in and got a super score was it in the league last year or the championship?
I think it was the league, wasn't it? Yeah. After winning the Fitzgibbon, yeah.
Yeah, he
was injured. He was injured for Fitzgibbon last year now, so he's probably he got injured around this time for Galway, and he's probably trying to find his form again. Yeah,
I saw the game between Galway and Tipperary. I thought he was good, they're in Dublin this evening, and it's a very, very important game. Of course, we're at the stage of the Fitzgibbon now where it's knockout, straight knockout. And this evening is Sigerson semi-final as well between TUD, who beat UL, and UCD. But getting back to the Fitzgibbon, it's going to be a tough task for Mary I, but they've been down the road of these tough tasks before, because they've won the competition last year. They are the holders, and they're not going to relinquish it easily. I think that they're going to come through, and they're probably likely opponents are perhaps going to be UCC in the semi-final.
Yeah, they're playing DCU Docus here this evening. They're in North Dublin, and DCU were in the league final before Christmas, but didn't really show that evening. Well, counted them rather easily. It's going to be interesting to see the Limerick. They
top the group with they were in the group of 3 with TUS Midwest and Maynooth College.
Yeah.
But it was TUS Midwest finished top of the pile there.
Yeah, on scoring difference, after they drew with each other. Yeah. We'll come to TUS in a second. But just to mention Mary I, their other Limerick involvement, obviously Shane O'Brien is probably the marquee name, but you have Cian Scully at wing back, you would have Jimmy Quilty of Blackrock at centre back. Yes. You've Patrick Finn played last week. Vince Harrington of Bearshik. Yeah. So a nice plethora of Limerick involvement.
Good plethora of Limerick involvement, and quite interesting.
Yeah, and it's something a drum I always beat. But this competition, like Aaron Gillan, is such a good example of someone who used this competition to really kickstart their adult career, as it were, and I'd say players around the counties, whatever county they're from, should be looking at it the same. that if they may not be the main man for their club or their county or whatever, this competition is a great acid test to see where they're at and see can they reach another level. So we could see a bolter or two.
Brother Jason is probably following in the footsteps in that pathway.
Yeah, absolutely, and used the competition very well last year, but. Not involved this year with Mary Immaculate. So that's them this Wednesday evening. Tomorrow evening, Matt, as you mentioned them there, TUS Midwest or LIT and Noel Money. They're in action there on home soil against MTU of Cork, so formerly CIT. But a chance I'm just trying to find the panel here, but there's a healthy Limerick involvement here for TUS, and they were winners last Thursday evening to get through as well as group winners. So an opportunity for them. They haven't really been in the last 3 or 4 seasons. They haven't really been getting to the business end of this competition. So they'll be happy to be back in the knockout stages again.
They will, and I think they're facing a very, very strong MTU team, Tom. MTU Cork I know they lost to UCC the last day out, but You know, they were down a couple of big players, and they have big game players. And this lad Walsh from Waterford, who is extremely good. And of course, they have Kieran Joyce, and they have Alan Connolly, and they have Jack Cahalane. So, like, it was, well, what was at stake when they played UCC in the Cork Derby was just that getting straight through to the semi-final. And I certainly didn't expect that UCC would beat him, but they did.
Right.
But these guys are, the guys that they were missing are hugely influential figures. Like Alan Connolly must be nearly the leading scorer in the competition, certainly with goals anyway.
Yeah, no, he is, and he didn't play the last day, of course. Yeah, just to mention the two Midwest panel. There's Barry Adams of Brown is on there. We've Dara Casey from Granite Ballincarry. Yeah, Davy Fitzgerald.
Sean Moran of Bruff, is he?
Yeah, Davy Fitzgerald, Sean Moran of Bruff. That's right. Yeah. A couple of others there. Marcus Hope. Yeah. I think that's kind of the main balance. There's a couple of other guys around the fringes there. Marcus Hogan of Napirsig and Michael Ryan of Maru Bohor. So we'll see who lines up for that one tomorrow. Yeah, that's been streamed as well, actually. So those games are available to watch. And they need that one's on home soil, so not too far out the road. But it seems a distant memory since LIT were at the forefront of this competition.
It does. But I'm not discounting them. But what I'm saying is I'm putting into context the task that they're facing.
Yeah. Oh no, I think MTU will be huge favourites for this one. But look, I wasn't too sure would they put it up to DCU the first day out, and they snatched the draw. So maybe that'll that'll give them the confidence. And home soil can always be helpful in this competition. Yeah.
They went to Maynooth, and had a very, very convincing win there.
Yeah.
So there has to be something about this team, Tom.
Yeah, and am I right in saying they haven't conceded a goal yet as well? So I think they didn't concede.
Well, interestingly, Tom, the last round of the group stages of the Fitzgibbon Cup, there wasn't a goal conceded nor scored.
Yeah,
it was 3 goalless games.
Yeah, and I was at 2 of them, so I saw 2 hours of hurling, 2+ hours of hurling. Yeah. And no net rattling, no green flag raised. So
hopefully students must have an aversion to goals.
Well, points, and points, depending on how you interpret that. At that age, it's very important to a college student. Anyway, we'll see how they fare. And of course, to mention UL and UCC waiting in the wings in the semi-final of the very, very
they're on next week, actually.
Yeah, so probably next Wednesday, and then the final to come the following Saturday. So we'll be looking at Wednesday the 12th, perhaps, for the semi-finals, and then Saturday the 15th for the finals. So all coming to a crescendo now, heading for the middle of February. Okay, Matt, that's plenty on the Fitzgibbon. Just to mention lastly, on the hurling Junior B, Kildime Palskenry, a tight win, but a win is a win, and they have their Junior B campaign up and running.
I wouldn't say it was a tight win now.
Right. What was the score again? Remind listeners.
113, 112.
Sounds tight to me.
Yeah, first impressions, very, very tight score. It can be scored. It couldn't be tighter. I think Kildime Palskenry were playing with the wind in the first half, and they got a good. They got a goal from a penalty. And I won't even give you half a mark for guessing who scored it.
Right. He was wearing number 1, I'd say, was he?
The ageless John Chalk.
Yeah, very good. Yeah. So,
as I said to somebody beside me, would they please put it down and not be dragging him up from the goal, because there was only going to be one result,
Yeah. But, just raise the flag.
Chalky got the goal. And there was a stiffish breeze, and it was stiffer in the second half now, in fairness, And... Tulla had made no impression on the deficit by the 3/4 stage. Kildime were still 6 points ahead, and they looked to me to be extremely, extremely comfortable. But it was in the home straight. They got a kind of a fortuitous goal. Tulla did. Now, well taken, but should have been cleared a couple of times. and a sub, McSweeney, he came on and he flicked it into the net overhead. The ball was going around one of those balls that no one is claiming half up in the air,
Yeah.
But he claimed it the right way, and he came in and he flicked it into the net. And after that, Kildimo were under pressure, and they held out, but I thought they held out comfortably enough now. They held out comfortably enough. And
there'll always be a bit of suspense when you're only a point up in the last few seconds. But yeah, I suppose they actually would have had the experience, of course, in the county final. They were kind of leading down the stretch, so that they were able to recall that as well, I'm sure.
Yeah, and they welcome back Cahill Downs, who missed most of last year.
The fact he was playing Junior B will tell you he missed all of last year from a hurling point of view.
Yes.
So like he obviously would have played senior hurling for them. He would be one of their force.
He looks in good trim, and let's put it this way: he'll be a bigger asset next Saturday than whilst he was good last Saturday. I think he'll be a bigger asset next Saturday.
Right. A game under his belt,
having got the game under his belt, and like they play a Kappa White team like that. They have this fella full forward Anthony Barry, like who's scoring for fun, and it may come down to how they deal with him. But I'd be pretty confident from what I saw of Kevin O'Connell now at centre back. He's a brother of
Darren, yeah, his older brother, yeah.
Darren, yeah. I thought he was very good. I thought the defence as a unit were very, very good. Matthew Lucy and Rory Maher didn't play. Rory Maher says he's hopeful of him playing this weekend. So, like, there'll be a couple of big additions to the team. So, yeah, I think Kildimo Pallaskin will have a very, very good chance, Tom.
Yeah, okay.
And they're the type of team, to me, from what I saw, that would be quite capable of winning this competition. I've been saying it from the outset. I think they made a statement about their pedigree when they defeated your own club, Ballybrown, because Ballybrown were a good side.
Yeah, and they were worthy winners that evening. So I'd say it's probably given them a fair amount of belief. And obviously, when you can add someone like Cahill Downs into the fray, I think they might have another trick up their sleeve this weekend in terms of a regraded player. But we'll watch the space and see who lands there this weekend. But for now, their quest for silverware goes on, and they into another week at least. Okay, Matt, football, and you and I were among the few hundred people watching Limerick in McNeville Park on Sunday afternoon, and unfortunately the wait for a league victory, it goes on until at least round 3 when Limerick will face London, but it was Wexford who came away from Rathkeale with the points. Your assessment of this one, were Limerick the second best on the afternoon?
Yeah, certainly second best going down the home straight when it mattered, and as late as yesterday I had the discussion about it was a rugby discussion, but it applies equally to GAA, like about the strength of your finishing team. And Wexford really closed out the game very, very comfortably, Tom. You saw how they kept their ability to keep ball really frustrated Limerick. It really frustrated. Now, on the eye, it was awful to watch, But I think coming into the game, following the draw in Longford, that the expectation was very high for Limerick. Really, really high. And I think they came up against the Wexford side that are unlikely to be beaten in this competition. Now, they're a good Wexford side. But you must remember, Tom, if you take it in its totality, Limerick were right there in the mix with 60 minutes to go.
Wait, what? Sorry, the last 5 minutes or so?
Sorry, they were there after 60 minutes on the hour. Limerick, the game was very finely balanced.
Yeah.
But Limerick didn't produce in the second half the performance that they produced in the first half. Now, Limerick haven't cultivated yet the knack of the 2-pointers. No. We've won 2 points in 2 matches. It was an excellent one, well worth waiting for from Emmett Richter.
I'd say just on game and
4 points.
On the 2-pointers, like Limerick must be bottom of the 2-point league. If you are, I'd say every county has surely got at least 2. I mean, like just there's some players have kicked 3 and 4. Like I thought Ethan Rafferty in Division 1 kicked 2 alone, the goalkeeper, I think. So, I mean, like it's something that Limerick. Now look, there's weather. The weather wind was against them in the second half, but I thought they could have had a couple more goals in the first half. Like if you look at Wexford in the first half, Wexford kicked to 8 wides, and I think maybe 5 of them were shots. Wexford weren't afraid to shoot. Limerick probably just overdid it once or twice. That extra pass, just the new rules. Like I was listening to analysis of it there today on different forums, and like the new rules kind of allow you to take more shots because the kickouts are going long. You can contest the kickouts more. If you rewind the clock to last season, if you missed a shot from 30 metres or scored it, if you missed a shot from 30 metres, the kick out will go short and the other team will have possession for potentially 2-3 minutes. That is not happening anymore. So I think they kind of need to loosen the shackles and have a cut. But I suppose the disappointing thing from that point of view, Limerick, because they're not winning games, that belief there to back themselves isn't there, Like you see Kerry the weekend running in 5 goals, like they obviously had the skill to create them, but like a confident team will go for those goals. If that was Limerick in those situations, they might have settled with points and they might have, I think one thing is feeding into the other. The confidence is meaning they're not taking on shots, and they're not taking on shots, they're not getting the 2-pointers, and it kind of adds up. Like, and look, Wexford kicked 2-pointers in the second half, and it really gave them the platform to win the game.
They did, and the stats that you're saying there about we being bottom of the league in terms of 2-pointers. Cork and Down played above in Newry. Down had 4 2-pointers. Cork had 5.
And Cork lost with 5, didn't they?
They lost by a point.
Yeah,
but they still made use of the of the 2-pointers.
Yeah, the annoying thing from Limerick as well is that James Naughton kicked 2 frees from about 37 metres, and he had more than enough. He'd more than enough to kick them from 41 metres. And Emmett Richter, in fairness to he got 3 kicked 3 great scores. One of them worth 2, so he ended up with 4 points. And just inside the arc for a couple of them, and you're like, it's a thing over time. You'll design it to create that space for the shooter, but like, I suppose it's great to see Emmett stepping up and kicking scores from play, but Limerick didn't create enough from play. They had to rely on frees to kind of keep it ticking over in the second half. They just, was it 5 scores they got from play out of their total? Like, that's not going to wash, especially in this new era now of maybe a little bit higher scoring. And I'd be interested to see can they do something before the London game.
On a plus side, Tom, Danny Neville is on the brink of coming back. I was talking to him on Sunday there at the game, and he said London might come too soon for him, but he would be probably back the week after. David O'Shaughnessy, who's an exciting young forward, like is recovering from injury as well, and like they're 2 players that, in my opinion, would add firepower.
Yeah,
in the final third, which is what we want. And when Danny Neville comes roving for the ball and sets off on those trademark runs, that's you need that. But I was disappointed, but I'd say that the expectation was heightened because of the draw in Longford.
Yeah,
but all is not lost yet, Tom. But the permutation now, as far as we're concerned in the league, as far as Limerick are concerned, and Jimmy Lee acknowledged it to me after the game that, the leeway for slipping up again, for losing points, is now gone.
Yeah.
If you're to be playing Division 3 football next season, there's only one permutation for Limerick now, and that is win the 5 games, the 5 remaining games. Who are against Wicklow and Carlow and London away, and at home to Tipperary and Waterford.
Yeah, look, it's not the meanest looking set of fixtures, but as I say, when you haven't won, it'll be coming up, Matt, not that far away from 3 years now since they won a league game. 2020. I'm mixing up my years there. Yeah, will be 3 years.
Tom, in the
2022, yeah.
5th round against Meath at the Gaelic grounds was a draw, but they haven't won a game since 2022.
Fermanagh in 2022, which took them up to Division 2 at the time, and like Yeah, it's to talk up between trying to start talking about winning 5 games in a row. It's it's wishful thinking at this point. I think they need to go to
Well,
London.
it's doable, Tom, but um, it's doable, but it's not easy. Like that, there are banana skins out there. For instance, Limerick go to Ricelet now on Sunday.
Sunday
On
week,
sorry,
yeah,
Sunday week.
yeah.
In the next round,
And
and
London are after beating Wicklow, like, so. I mean,
yeah,
yeah,
and Wexford trounced London,
yeah,
and London
no,
didn't come on, and they beat Wicklow. Now there might be a bit of London don't travel as good as maybe as full strength as they should, or as they could, for various reasons. Guys mightn't just be able to get the weekend off. But one game that you would certainly be targeting for 2 points would be a trip to London. But now the dynamic of that game has changed completely by virtue of the result against Wicklow.
it sure
And
has,
of
yeah,
course, we have to go to Wicklow, and we have to go to Carlow.
yeah. Do we ever get it easy with the fixtures in football? I don't
We
think
never
it
get
ever.
easy with Wicklow anyway.
No. But the fixtures never seem to be kind to Limerick. 3 at home and 4 away, again and again. It seems like. Okay. Looking elsewhere, Matt. So that's the men's side of it. Just to mention, in brief, I suppose St. Kieran's a refixture with Rowan Moore of Waterford in the Munster Junior B Series. We've touched on it a few weeks ago. Of course, a formidable looking St. Kieran's team. It's fair to say, and they'll certainly fancy their chances. 2 p.m. in Ballyagrán this Sunday against the Waterford champions. So an opportunity to reach the Munster final. This is a semi-final, isn't it?
No, it's a
Quarter.
quarter-final.
Sorry,
Tom,
apologies.
because
Yeah.
the winners will be playing Goalie from West Cork. And I
Right.
really mean West Cork, because you can go more Crookhaven, which is down the road. They proclaim they sell the most southerly pint of Guinness in Ireland.
Right. Okay.
In
Right.
Crookhaven. But so it'll be a long trip up for Goalie. But I think that St. Kieran's, when you look at the squad and look at the experience in the squad, that I think they're going to have a cut at this competition, Tom.
Yeah, no, they certainly are. I think as we mentioned a few weeks ago, the players they have, they'll be thereabouts, and the way they won that Limerick final will speak volumes of that. Okay, so that's 2 p.m. Sunday. You're at that one, so we'll hear from you next week on the ongoings there in Ballyagrán. Of course, it's the Knockaderry series, but Ballyagrán have thankfully stepped in to host it. The ladies' match, they were also playing Wexford.
Look, we can't but acknowledge, we have to acknowledge the work that Killeedy and Knockaderry are doing in organising these competitions.
Yeah. Oh yeah,
it's actually fantastic work in Killeedy again last Saturday. Everything was, now just before if I go back to Killeedy for a second, the Leinster final is also on Saturday between Ashmore Kilrush from Wexford, who beat Kilmore Daly from Galway, and they're playing Three Castles from Kilkenny.
Three Castles, yeah, never heard of them. I was love to be honest with you, Three Castles, but
yeah, well, it's on at 3:00, and the Munster final is on at 12 noon. There's an early throw in there.
Okay, well, yeah, thanks for that. Okay, that's the Junior B for hurling and football for the weekend ahead. Saturday for the hurling, and then Sunday, as we just said there, for the football. Okay, ladies football match. The Wexford jersey could soon become the antrim jersey on this podcast. Wexford, their ladies decided to follow in the footsteps of their men and defeating Limerick in a league game at Mick Neville Park. This, of course, was the 4 p.m. throw-in, and disappointing again for Limerick. Competitive certainly, thereabouts, but Wexford proving too strong in the end, and Wexford well able to find the points. Limerick couldn't seem to kick in the second half. You're covering your eyes there, Matt. Is frustration, I think, is the optimum word here, is it?
It is, Tom. It is. Last Sunday week, Limerick played down. They were up 1, 2 to 3 points at half-time. After half-time, they conceded 10 points without reply. Last Sunday, they were up 1-3 to 3 points. They conceded a goal and 2 points within 5 minutes of the restart.
Okay.
It's whatever Limerick are leaving in the dressing room at half-time that seems to be their undoing. Now, against Down, they didn't score until the 20th minute. but finished very, very strongly. 20th minute of the second half, and we're unlucky in the finish that they didn't win now. And I said that here last week. Now, they weren't as long waiting to score against Wexford, but Wexford took control, Tom, and they took a grip in the game with about 15 minutes to go. And you could not see anything other than a Wexford win. They seem to have complete control of the game. Now, I still think this, and I said it last week. Their level of performance in the first half against Down was better than anything we saw last year. Similarly, the level of performance against Wexford last Sunday was better than anything we've seen this year. The big problem that Limerick have to face is sustaining it. Sustaining that level of performance for 60 minutes. I'm absolutely convinced that if they can get over that hump and get to sustain it, they have a decent chance of consolidating in Division 3.
Okay. Yeah, so it seems when they're taking on water, they're taking on a lot of water, basically, when
after half time.
Yeah. So the leak starts and it's hard to plug it, and it's it's a long way back.
They go to Offaly this weekend. It's a must win for both sides. Offaly have lost in both games. They've got an absolute trouncing from Wexford in the first round, and I mean a trouncing, something like 3-14 to 1-4.
Okay.
In Enniscorthy. And they went to Carlow last week and fared a little bit, a bit better, but not that much better. They lost by, I think, about 8. But
it lost by 6 to Carlow. Yeah, I'm not sure the score was 17-11 was the score.
Opportunity now for Limerick, to pick up a crucial win.
Yeah,
this is crucial.
Yeah, it's
and I think you were talking about Limerick in National League win. I don't think Limerick ever won a Division 3 National League game in ladies football. Right. I think the only previous year they were up was in 2017. They lost all 7.
Down. Yeah. Okay. Well, let's see how they fare. Yeah.
Not that want to be putting that statistic out there, but you can't.
But
from reality,
you have to. Yeah, that's it. Yeah. It's an air.
I just hope that we get that win on Sunday. It could kickstart something.
Yeah, it's certainly a relegation 6-pointer even at this early days. And for anyone trying to correct me, it's 3 points for a win in the Ladies Football League.
It is.
But it is a big one. Like Limerick, Laois and Offaly propping up the table at the moment without a win. Now Laois have only played once, but those 3 sides could do with something to catch on to the likes of Down, Carlow and Louth, who are ahead of them. And Wexford and Cavan are leading the way with 2 wins from 2. So at this point, Limerick got to get something on the board, got to get a win here, and hopefully that will be a case of turning the corner. And of course, there's a bit of a break now, so they can recharge after this weekend. Go to Edenderry, try and get the win, and then reset.
They have 3 games away in a row.
Yeah. It was disappointing with the home fixtures not to pick up anything, even if a draw would have been an okay start to, if to get 1 point from the 2 games, but currently pointless after the 2 rounds, but time for it to be fixed nonetheless. Okay, that's the ladies football. Edenderry.
Yeah, and then like that, as I said, Tom, they're playing better football than they played in Division 4. From a performance point of view, they seem to be transitioning. But they're only doing it for half an hour.
Yeah. Okay. Well, see, can they do it for 50, 55, and maybe even the 60 this week? Okay. Looking at other items, well, we've the camogie, and the Bank Holiday Monday match wasn't kind to the minors. Limerick minor camogie side were defeated, squeezed out by Cork. What you have on this one, I wasn't.
Well, they had the breeze in the first half. And appeared to be building a bit of momentum. And at one stage, they were 7 points to 2 up, and they conceded a goal, and they went 8-3 ahead and then conceded a goal in the stroke of half time. which made it 8 points to 1-3. And, it gave them a bit of a problem. Now, Cork came out after half time and they scored 5 points to go 1-8 to 8 points clear. And that was within 10 minutes of the restart. But then Caitlin Ryan hit a free and Amy Mullins hit a point from play. And by the 20th minute, there was only a point in it. And the last 10 minutes only yielded one single score, a point for Cork from a free. And it ended 1-9 to 10 points. Disappointing. You must remember that this Limerick team was the pick of two Munster under 16A back-to-back winning teams. But I know it doesn't always work. For instance, Orma Barrett wasn't playing now, who would be a huge figure on the team. But I think it augurs well enough going into the championship.
Yeah, the championship. Do we know dates? I know there's. I
understood that the original date I got was that they would be home to Galway this weekend, but I've heard nothing about it. Nothing concrete.
Right. Yeah, not sure, but nevertheless, they've sharpened themselves for the championship. That was the Munster championship.
Unfortunately, Tom, there's no PRO in Limerick since Emma retired. Efforts to appoint a PRO have proved challenging, daunting, and unsuccessful to date. And there's only different people trying to get bits and pieces into the press. So
we're a little bit in the dark. So about these fixtures,
we're a small bit in the dark, but the senior camogie panel was named, and I know we'll be talking about it more in depth next week because we'll be going to Down on Saturday week in the opening round of the league. But it's very much a new look Limerick team now. The squad has been reduced so far as that there are 14 players from last year's squad gone, and I think there's 11 that's coming in, but some big names gone: Marion Quaid, Rebecca DeLee, Mary O'Callaghan, Niamh Ryan, stalwarts, very, very hard to replace. Caoimhe Costello has been announced as the captain for the year. What a wonderful servant Caoimhe is. What service she's given to Limerick Camogie is simply phenomenal. Yeah. And Alva Larkin, I hope Alva won't be on to me that I pronounced her name wrong again. Alva Larkin from Mungra St. Paul's is the vice captain. So we look at it more in depth next week, Tom, in advance of their travelling to Down.
Okay, yeah.
But the Down fixture might be ideal for a new look team for the simple reason that Down were very poor last year and only barely survived. I think they only survived on score difference with Kerry. I think it was something
that sounds about right. The challenge there, of course, is that you just don't know. Down, it could be like Limerick. They could have 20 players back or 15 players in or out.
Well, I don't think they have the two big names, Sorka McCartan, who is, I think, still with Cork, and Niamh Mallon, who's still with Galway. But if any of those two ladies were back, I'd be worried,
You would, yeah. Just to mention the minor fixture, according to the Camogie website at the moment, is this Sunday the 6th. Sorry, is it this Sunday? Sorry, no. Sunday the 16th. Sunday the 16th, it's down for now, round one, Limerick and Galway. So that's Sunday week.
But again, where?
No, TBC, which hosts a lot of camogie games by all accounts.
It's a very, very, very popular venue, and I've tried to find it. I've put it into the sat nav, and I put it into that other thing that woman that talks. What did they call it?
Alexa, is it?
Google Maps.
Yes, but there's a lot of games on.
None of them have ever found this TBC, whatever it is.
Yeah, by all accounts, nearly every game in the Camogie Championships are on in TBC. But no, joking aside, Limerick throw in against Galway. It looks like 2 p.m. on Sunday the 16th, certainly at this moment.
Like that was originally for the 9th.
Yeah, but maybe provincial championships and stuff have pushed it back and all the rest of it. But look, we'll see what comes out.
Yeah,
but
that's
anyway.
because of that bad week with the weather and the snow and what have you,
Yeah.
But well, obviously, I'd be very, very hopeful. Now I saw Galway last year in the under 16A. They had a very, very good team. We only beat them by a point, and obviously a lot of those will be transitioning. But we'll be transitioning a Munster winning team from the year before. So, But I'm looking forward to it. Let's hope we'll be able to get in and see the games. Now, there's only 3 games in the group, I think, Tom.
Yeah, there is. It's Limerick, Galway, Wexford, and Clare. So Limerick plays Galway first at home. They'll be at home to Wexford in round 2. and then a trip to Clare in round 3. So thankfully, the fixtures have fallen kindly in terms of the home away arrangements this time. So yeah, we'll see how that one develops. So that's the later in the month.
Maybe on in Kilmallock, they played a lot of their minor games in Kilmallock in recent years. So,
yeah, pitch and weather dependent, of course, as well. Okay, looking finally, Matt, at the camogie in the week ahead. The third level finals. We mentioned the third level, of course, for the men, but the ladies have a busy weekend ahead. Now they're penciled in for the Connacht Centre of Excellence. I know the Dome is unfortunately out of action after the storm, but of course there's plenty of other.
I was told today that the whole thing has been tidied up and is in readiness.
Okay, right.
To host both the Ashburn Purcell and Father Mahal Cups. Now the Dome obviously isn't restored, but
they have restored. A mixture of grass and all weather for these competitions. Yeah, so there's plenty of Limerick involvement. We'll do our best now to take you through it. I suppose the Ashburn involvement for Limerick, to mention those players and management first. So there's 3 Limerick players on the UL team in terms of Ashburn. Just Shauna Cunningham of Killeedy, Stephanie Wolfe of Temple Glanton, and Cueva Lyons of Monaleen. So UL comfortable so far making it into the semi-finals of the Ashburn Cup. They're going to face University of Galway with a 1 p.m. start this Saturday. In the other semi-final, UCC, of course, Matt's favourites will be playing TU Dublin in the other semi-final.
UCC 3 Limerick players there as well. All who are starting, which is quite difficult. There's Sarah O'Brien from Temple Glanton, Orla Kelleher, who must be in about her 3rd or 4th year playing, but she's in final year there, and Lisanna Boylan. Lisanna Boylan got a goal in one of the earlier rounds, and I think Sarah O'Brien got a goal as well. They've been doing very well now, the Limerick trio, but there's a very, very strong contingent from Cork, including, a number of All-Ireland winners like Maeve Murphy and Aoife Healy started in the All-Ireland final last year, and then there's another pile of them that were on and off the team, so from my information, they look strong, but they haven't won it since 2003, Tom.
Yeah, okay.
But I would like to remind you, Tom, that they have won it 32 times.
Right, okay. I don't remember any of them now, to be honest with you. Anyway, just to mention other Limerick involvement in the competition, the Purcell Cup, which is the second tier cup. UL have their second team in that competition. They're facing off against SETU of Carlow. Mary Immaculate College, which has a Limerick involvement, they're facing Queen's University Belfast in the other competition. And Limerick University of Limerick's third team face in the Father Mar Cup. I think I'm pronouncing it correctly, or I hope I am anyway. They're facing Trinity College in one semi-final. Ulster University Belfast and DCU's second team are in the other semi-final. But just looking at it, there's a plethora of Limerick involvement. I mentioned Mary I there. They have Teresa Dorr, who of course plays with Patrick Swell, Emily O'Halloran of Monaleen, and her clubmate Amy Burke. They're all with Mary I involved in that. SETU Carlow have 2 Limerick players, Limerick club players, Sarah Condon of Knockaderry and Ciara O'Connor of Granagh Ballingarry. And Trinity College have Aoife Nelligan of Monaleen. Now Trinity, I didn't mention their fixture there. They're actually involved in the other semi-final in the third tier competition against University of Limerick's third team. And I'll bring you now to the University of Limerick involvements. The Purcell Cup has no fewer matches than 13 Limerick players. Sarah Gallan.
That's correct, yeah.
So Sarah Gallan, Anya O'Tiernig, Laura Southern, Sinead Barry, Carla Griffin, Lauren O'Connor, Ciara Buckley, Ellie Madigan, Roisin O'Brien, Emer Hogan, Kate O'Connor, Orla Ryan, and Ella Meehan. And they're under the stewardship, of course, of the one and only, I should say, Dave Deedy of Brewery, and he's assisted then by Danny O'Sullivan, Mary Kennedy, and Alex Russell, who are also Limerick connection. And the Limerick involvement does not end.
Before you go from that, Orla Ryan, of course, is a newcomer to the Limerick ladies senior football team this year.
Yeah, of St. Elby's. Yeah, the UL management for the Ashburn, which is of course their leading team, their number 1 team. That's Declan Nash of Killoyne Pallaskenry, Ina McGargle of Killoyne Pallaskenry, Derval Egan of Gracora, and Michelle Casey, who I think is Killeedy, Matt, as well. So
Michelle is Killeedy.
Excuse me, she's involved there.
Don't try to tell her she's anything else.
Yeah, there we go. The UL third team has Cara Davern of Bruff, Roisin Corbett, Newcastle West, Roisin Quilty of Blackrock F, and Nicola Ryan, of Patrickswell, Kate Fitzgerald also of Patrickswell. They're the players. And then on the management team, you have Kevin O'Brien of Patrickswell and Brendan McGowan, also of Tubber Fodrick. So plenty of UL involvement at the business end of these third level competitions.
It's huge credit to the Camogie Club in UL that they're contesting all three finals.
Well, sorry, semi-finals during the
semi-finals. Sorry,
yeah.
It must be a record nearly.
Yeah, well, looking at the other teams like the University of Galway, who obviously are traditionally strong as well. They have only two teams there. DCU have two. UCC only have one across the grade. So, in fairness to UL, their GA club and Camogie and Camogie and ladies football, they don't leave the second and third teams behind and left. They put in equal measure of investment into them in terms of kit and management teams and everything. So
it's paying dividends, and it's providing a pathway up along. Particularly players down the years, we'll say, in second and third years, getting into Father Maher and Purcell Cup, and readying them for Ashbourne Cup eventually. It's fair dues,
Yeah, absolutely, yeah. So that's all taking place this Saturday and Sunday, the 8th and 9th, the semi-finals on Saturday, and then the finals to come on the Sunday. I'm sure a big weekend for all involved in those teams, and I'm sure a very, very enjoyable one, particularly for those who win. UL, of course, defending their Ashbourne crown, and I'm sure we'll take a bit of stopping at the weekend. Okay, Matt, I think we've covered plenty there in the last 60 plus minutes or so. We won't be putting up a board saying 7 and continuing on here. We'll stop at +7, an hour +7. Okay, thanks very much for listening, folks. We'll chat to you again at the weekend, or indeed on next